Hi, welcome to this video. You may have some people within your organization that are doing a great job, but unfortunately no one really knows what they are doing and how they are doing it. They hold some special knowledge, some special know-how or skills, and basically they are irreplaceable. So you let them do what they do, and they become increasingly good at being irreplaceable. Now, one day they leave, they disappear, they are just not there anymore. And what happened is that they went somewhere else to apply their skills, their knowledge, and their know-how. So, you maybe want to know what to do with irreplaceable people before they leave. So in this video we are first going to illustrate the problem. Then we'll talk a little bit about knowledge in organizations, and then we will see how to identify this problem of irreplaceable people, then what to do about it, then what you can do about it at your level, and last we will see how to become irreplaceable but in a positive way. To illustrate the problem, let's say you run a country but you don't have an accurate map of it. All you've got is this, and you're here, this is the sea, and you don't know every place of it. Especially this kind of places. They are remote and they are behind a forest, a big forest, and it's behind big mountains. So the officials from there, once in a while, they come to you and they explain that everything is fine over there, everything is running smoothly, and that if you come, well, they will have a big party for you. The thing is that you don't even know how to get there, and you're a bit ashamed to confess it. And before these officials leave, of course, they ask for a bit more money for very good reasons. That's called a failed state, and it's an extreme example, yes. But it's there to illustrate the problem, to put an image on it so that you can remember it better. About knowledge. Maybe you're working with people who have all their files and documents on their desk, on their computer, or on a separate drive where they are the only ones to have access to. No one really knows what they are doing, how they are doing it, and with what results. They do have results, but they are based on different data and different time frames every year, so nothing is comparable. It's not possible to compare anything. Within an organization, knowledge has to be accessible to anyone needing it, and it has to be organized in a standard way throughout all the organization. I'll make a video about how to organize files, because it's very important to be able to, for anyone in the organization, to recover files. For now, it just has to be very clear within your organization that all the knowledge about projects, about certain aspects of the business is the organization's property. No one should be allowed to keep knowledge for himself or herself. To have an illustration again, this doesn't really apply to organization, but it's about knowledge. Here we have a drawing I did a few years back to illustrate knowledge. So we see that old Italian mama that incarnates knowledge. She incarnates knowledge about this wonderful Italian cuisine. And what is she doing with her knowledge? Well, she transmits it to someone in the family through showing example, and to explaining, to giving recipes. She transmits her knowledge. So make it part of your organization's culture to consider knowledge as an asset. How to identify whether you have a problem with irreplaceable people in your organization? Well, the first thing to do is to ask yourself, who is doing the job when I'm not there? And if you have someone doing the job, does this person have enough knowledge to really do the job? You can also ask yourself, do I do the job of someone else when he or she is not there? Another thing you can do is run tests. You know, a lot of professionals, they run simulations almost every day. Think of firefighters. Think of pilots who train in flight simulators. And think of ship crews who also train almost every day for emergencies. Why don't you do the same thing? For instance, during a meeting, you could propose to run a test. For 10 minutes, simulate as if one colleague hadn't showed up for 5 days and he wasn't going to show up for a really longer period. And there is something he does normally that has to be done today. During 10 minutes, just try to find out how to do this. You can also ask a random colleague to look for a specific file or specific document from another colleague and see how long it takes for him to find this document or file. And look broadly, as irreplaceable people are not necessarily the obvious ones, the superstars. It can be someone somewhere that you hardly hear about, but that person is doing a very important job for the company, and maybe no one knows what he's doing and how to replace him. So what to do about it? Well, one of the first things to do is to have a list of your staff, of the entire organization. It's very basic. You've got the people within your organization here and their substitutes here. I put a link in the notes below with a template of such a list. If you already have a list of your staff, well, don't make another list. Just add a column with who replaces whom in this list. And once you have this list, the person in charge of something meets regularly, has regular briefings with his substitute. They exchange about the ongoing projects, the upcoming events, and out of these briefings, a short written document is produced and stored in a specific follow-up file so that it can be recovered at any time. And also, the person in charge and his or her substitute have to work together regularly. And the person in charge has to serve as a mentor as the substitute does the work. And here we come back to this idea of simulating things, of running tests. So here we have this image of an exercise of a ship crew with a team rescuing someone at sea. And there is someone, the mentor, watching over them and watching what they are doing. So this helps gather data, this helps give feedback, and this helps improve the entire system. You can also have everyone in your company get the habit of reflecting upon what they are doing and what it implies in terms of ins and outs. Here is a template. For every activity they do, have them fill in what they need from whom on one side as the in, then what they provide to whom. It can be a service or a product. That is the out. And then in between, that's the activity done by them. It's a very basic way to map a process, but it already brings understanding. And of course, this should be shared and accessible to anyone needing it. I'll put a template in the links below. And the system, the entire system, has to be checked regularly. This will make your organization stronger. And one very important thing while implementing these changes, do it with a lot of respect for the people. Do it with a lot of consideration. You know that change is difficult, so take your time, consider people, consider human beings, and do this with respect. Now, how you can act at your level? Well, if you're a manager, you're in charge of making this organization run smoothly. So you're responsible to implement a system, and you have the authority to do so. And be sure to act as an example. Now, if you're an employee with no particular official power, well, you can still act, because at your level you can ensure that you at least have someone who replaces you while you're on leave or you are not there. And you can also be sure that you replace one or two people when they are not there, that you know what they are doing. You can also act by raising the question among your colleagues and with your managers of who is replacing whom in the organization. Then anytime you take a new position in a new organization, you should ask for a specific system of substitutes and who replaces whom when they are not there. Now, if you're working with other organizations, with partners, well, you also got to be sure that the person you're working with has a substitute. That if that person is not there anymore, that you can go to another person. So what we're trying to do is to have less and less irreplaceable people. But there are ways to be positively irreplaceable. As a person, as an individual, everyone is unique. And the organization has to recognize this, because it's also an asset of the organization. It has to be part of the organization's culture to consider everyone as a unique human being. And in this respect, they are irreplaceable. It's a very important part of the organization's culture, so that everyone can accept and understand each other and work better together. And some people are irreplaceable because they constantly work to improve themselves and improve the organization. and they share what they have learned, and they share their thoughts, and they share their enthusiasm. That's a very positive way to be irreplaceable. They develop ideas and they bring people with them to make them grow and to grow the organization. And that's fantastic for an organization to have irreplaceable people like this. And the organization should have this kind of irreplaceable people. They are really impacting the organization's culture for the best. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the content, and I hope you can take something out of it and start implementing it in your organization. And leave a comment below on how you implement these things in your organization, on what kind of problem you have implementing these changes. If you have some specific stories about irreplaceable people. Thank you very much for watching this video.